the second injury fund has failed to operate as designed and insufficient financial resources since 2009. I think some would argue that the 3% surcharge and no allowance for it to go higher was a problem. Some would argue that maybe that the fund was not well enough defended by the Attorney General's office over the years. Doesn't matter. We've got a problem. We've got to fix it. And we've got 190 Missourians since April of 11 who've been awarded a bi-weekly lifetime benefit who have yet to receive any compensation due to them. The second injury fund owes those individuals about $15 million in benefits. We also have an enormous backlog of pending cases, and I think the Chamber has done a study that estimates the liability to the fund is upwards of $1 billion.
You know, just briefly, we have three issues that I believe we're facing as a General Assembly within workers' compensation. The first is occupational disease, co-employee liability, and then the second injury fund. The Senate and the House chose to deal with occupational disease and co-employee liability and sent that bill to the governor. The governor has vetoed that, so that adds a layer of complexity and to those two issues, but I think the main one, as Senator Dempsey has talked about, are the public policy choices that we make dealing with occupational disease. Although my bill in Senator Dempsey's bill does not directly deal with those other two, I think it's important that we don't isolate the second injury fund issues in a vacuum because all three of those workers' compensation issues, occupational disease, co-employee liability, and the fund intertwined with each other are an important group of issues that I think...
Richard Moore on behalf of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Obviously the sponsors of the legislation see this as a starting point, and we want to be supportive of that and work with the committee and the Senate as a whole and try to find a solution that can pass the legislature and be signed by the governor. The bill that Senator Dempsey brought forth, Senate Bill 829, yeah, 807, is the basic agreement that the business community came together following last session. We support that legislation. We believe that it touches on a number of topics that are important to address, namely the fact that it reforms the second injury fund and provides a financial component for the approximately $1 billion held that exists. Senator Crowell's piece of legislation, as I said, is a placeholder. I believe it has to have some additions to it, including a financial component to deal with that tail. But we're, as I said, very interested in working with the committee and the Senate to try to find a resolution that will be supported by the Senate. I just wanted to touch base with you with a little bit of information that I have that's up to date that you may not be aware of since the last time I spoke in detail about the second injury fund. In 2011, there was almost $41 million of revenue that came in. Benefits were paid in an amount of just over $37 million. Administrative costs were $4.2 million. And then as of April of last year, so a full year has went by, there's been a number of individuals who have yet to receive one dime of their awards, as Senator Dempsey spoke of. That is a total of 192 individuals. We owe them $14.7 million. There's 29,200 pending cases, and the 9% interest we owe on unpaid awards totals $537,000. So you can see the gravity of the situation. We believe that there needs to be a solution this session, and we want to be a part of crafting that solution. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.